view from Pashupati Advani as well. He's joining us on the show to talk the fundamentals of the market and stocks. Pashupati, hi. Thank you so much for making time. What do you make of what you heard from Mr. Anish Shah and their investment in RBL Bank? Does it spook you about the capital allocation policies at the Mahindra Group at all?
No, this is like where there's smoke, there's always fire. So I think that they're planning something. I'm guessing that in the long term they feel that there'll be restrictions on NBFCs, which may not be on banks, and so they want to kind of get cozy with one of them. This is a bank with no big promoter holding, so I think that this is an opportunity for them to step up at some point. And as Anish said, it may be 3-5 years, or maybe the next cycle, but at least they have that opportunity. They're there. 3.5% ain't going to give them a board seat, so I don't know what that means in terms of putting money in, and 400 crores is a lot of learning. So those are the two questions which even Nikunj mentioned a little while ago. So it's a little baffling, but it is a bank that's out there. That's probably up for grabs in the long term. Anisha?
Long-term plan from Pashupati as well. Pashupati, what is your view? What Nikunj is saying, just take a long-term view, because of course there has been a big correction in terms of how the bank's profitability has moved, or do you think this one quarter blip is something that the street might be worried about?
I think we have to fully agree with Nikunj. It is a long-term view with SBI. I don't think anyone really understands the SBI balance sheet properly, because they've got so much stuff and it's really very difficult to analyze. So, I think you're taking it as India's big bank. It's too large to fail. They're just going to keep growing, and they have access to rural deposits. So, I mean, those are the sort of tick marks that it gets. And as Nikunj says, it's underperforming because nobody understands the balance sheet properly. You look at it and then suddenly you have a little bit of a tweak that the NIMs are not good or the NIs are not good. But the reality is that, they control whatever they want to control. I mean, nobody knows the real truth, which has been the problem with SBI all along. But it's a good bank and it's a large market cap, so people are buying and holding it.
More cars, Indians are buying more luxury watches, Indians are buying more luxury shirts, Indians are buying more brands. But if I look at a company like Aditya Birla Fashion, well, this company does not report profits.
Well, I can understand some of that because, as you said, some people have they have made some acquisitions using stock, and some of those promoters may have actually lightened up and given stock in the market. And, I'm a great believer of supply and demand. So there must be a lot of supply in the stock, and not so much demand because it's not got any zing. I mean, it's not like on the top of the radar screen. It's there, but it does seem to be consolidating. It is buying high-end designers and making Pret out of them. So I think that's a trend that will probably, it's a longer-term trend which they'll take time to monetize, I would say. And I think that it is probably a decent stock to look at, to put away for like a cycle, full cycle, as they get rural distribution. And the three big players, Jio, Aditya Birla and Tatas, are all buying these designers and putting them into their stables and then getting Pret out of them. So I think that trend is there to stay. Everyone is doing it, and it's a question of who does it best. And so far, it looks like Aditya Birla is running third in this race. So let's see what happens.
Pashupati, the other space which has been coming back quite strongly throughout this year is the power theme, right? Whether it's the generating companies, NTPC, etc., transmission, power grid, or even the smart metering names, everything has seen quite a bit of bump up, and even the beaten down wind energy names as well. Would you be a buyer in any of these names?
Well, you have to, because at the end of it all, the government is driving power infrastructure from the front. They're spending money, and it does take time for the capex cycle to actually translate into real money. But while you're doing the capex, you're in it, and along with the government, some private players have also jumped in and followed. The consumption of power is going up. Price of power is also going up. I think everybody who's looked at an electricity bill recently, is the only word for it is ouch. So, because it's a necessity, and I don't think we can do without it. So they're kind of in the driver's seat right now. So yes, one does need to be, it is a sector worth looking at and worth buying a small piece of if you're constructing an Indian portfolio. And you see it in almost every FI and large mutual fund portfolio in India these days.
Now, what do we have? Well, we have Zomato, volume activity phenomenally higher. We've got Hindustan Copper, where the price performance this week has been phenomenally higher. And here's a quiz question. Who's ready for some quiz? If Policy Bazaar and Zomato are going higher, which is one company which would benefit the most?
Policy Bazaar
And Zomato are going higher. Quiz question.
Oh yeah, okay, the one that holds the holding company InfoEdge, of course. What? No, but that's Zomato actually. They have holding in Zomato, sorry.
And Policy Bazaar both.
No.
InfoEdge should go higher. Let's see.
Yeah, it is.
I've
No,
not
it is
seen- I've
higher
not
by
seen-
7%.
Yeah?
It is higher by 7%, yes.
Let's see. I haven't seen the stock. I have not seen the stock. I'm just assuming that how sometimes you can simply connect the dots here. The biggest holder of Zomato is actually InfoEdge. That is through their, it's investment they have. And one of the biggest investors in PB FinTech is actually InfoEdge. Where is InfoEdge? On your screen, 4875. Pashupati Advani, the core business of InfoEdge, which is Naukri, which is largely 50% plus on IT, is not doing well, but the investee companies are making a comeback. Is InfoEdge a good buy now? Considering that the fintech promoters are now no longer the bad boys of the market, they've realized that, look, it's an auction market, they need to be profitable more. Growth to aa jayegi.
Well, I think InfoEdge has been a stock that should be in every portfolio from 2,500 rupees. But yeah, I guess one could continue to add to it. I don't think you would jump into it with both feet, given that it's up 7% today. But I think that it is something that, as you said, benefits from these two big Hathi ownership that it has. And maybe they'll punt Naukri, because with Naukri, pivoting with AI and things like that, they may actually decide to sell it off or consolidate. That'll be interesting. So then they'll just be a holding company. So let's see. I mean, people are doing a lot of restructuring and trying to create value, and InfoEdge has got a brain trust that is unrivaled. So that's good. Nikunj?
I literally had to use this phrase that if I put a gun to your head, which is one consumer fintech stock you would buy, and the guest on the show would respond by saying, please shoot me, but I will not buy a consumer tech and a fintech stock. Today, I don't have to put a gun to that head. I'm simply going to ask you this question without putting a gun to your head, Pashupati, which is one consumer or a fintech stock you would buy. There is no gun, so please feel free.
No,
to say no also.
I've been playing in and out of Paytm, so I'm still looking at Paytm as the mover for the market. So I think that that should be looked at. I would like it to be a little cheaper. It's not. It's come down a little bit from 800 plus. I think in the mid 700s is probably a good play. And that's, as I said, I'm in and out, and so I'm taking it as a trading stock as well. Nikunj?
Or to say that he will put a gun to my head if I don't ask him a question on consumer tech and fintech. So Naresh, don't worry.